Hey, Book Dragons, I'm so glad you joined me today. I recently read the short novella by George R. R. Martin called Nightflyers. And I really had a great time reading this, and I'm so excited to tell you more about it. This is a science fiction horror novel, or novella. And if you have watched and enjoyed the Alien franchise or the extremely creepy Event Horizon, then you will probably really enjoy this book. It takes place in an undisclosed time period in humanity's future, and there is a small crew that has been assembled by someone named Melantha Jurl to go in search of the Volcran. And the Volcran are a mysterious alien race that have a very specific kind of interstellar technology that this crew is wanting to research. But because the Volcran are very mythical in some respects, not many people are willing to charter an expedition into the far unknown reaches of space to try and find the Volcran. But they are able to charter a ship called the Nightflyer, and this is a modified cargo vessel owned by a mysterious gentleman named Royd Eris. And you probably noticed I used the word mysterious twice already, and that's because there is a lot of mystery in this book. The owner of the ship, Royd Eris, is obviously a man with secrets. Through most of the book, the crew only interacts with Royd Eris through a holographic projection of himself. The actual Royd Eris stays in his quarters during all that time. And they keep asking him to come out, and he doesn't come out for various reasons. He cites certain health issues that he has and everything like that, but he can't be around people, and so you can probably guess that that does not bode well for establishing trust with the crew. They don't know who this person is. All they know is that their captain, Melantha Jurl, hired this guy, and they don't really know anything about him. And so as the journey goes on, of course, they begin to trust him less and less. And it's a really fascinating window into human interactions and the conclusions the human mind will jump to when it doesn't have all the answers that it thinks it needs. So the interactions with the crew and the character development in this story are really something to watch. And this is set in the far future, and there are people in this book that have developed certain telepathic abilities, and they can read minds and things like that. And at one point, one of the telepaths is given a drug to enhance their abilities so that hopefully they can read the mind of this mysterious man known as Royd Eris, and that just goes completely awry and makes the crew even less trusting of this man that's brought them out into the unknown reaches of space. It's really cool to see the character interactions. I thought the character development in this book was really well done. And even though it is a sci-fi novel, it feels fantastical. You've got some similar naming conventions that George R. R. Martin would use later on in A Song of Ice and Fire. There's even a character in this book named Alice, and it's spelled Alys, which is similar to the spelling of a name that he gave a character in A Song of Ice and Fire. So very similar writing style to what you know of from A Song of Ice and Fire if you read the series. And I am just continually impressed with George R. R. Martin's storytelling ability and world building, especially for such a small book. You know, this is under 200 pages, and I was just riveted the entire time. And it gave me that creepy feeling that you get from stuff like the Alien movies that I mentioned, or Event Horizon. To this day, Event Horizon is one of the creepiest science fiction movies I have ever seen in my life. And this book definitely gave me vibes around that, because there are similar elements to Event Horizon, and I'm not going to go into what that is because it would be spoilers. But if you've seen the movie and you read this book, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I will just say that nobody is really safe in this book. We'll put it that way. That's not really a spoiler. I think that goes with the territory when you're reading science fiction horror or watching a science fiction horror movie. So yeah, excellent, excellent book. If I had to put this in my tier ranking, I would put this in my hoard. I am so glad I read this. I am so glad I own it. And I would definitely read it again. It's one of those books that you can go back and read and see things that you didn't see before. I personally think, even though I have not reread it yet, but it feels like one of those books that you would go back and start to see where things started to go wrong even earlier in the book than when you actually got to what goes wrong. So, excellent, excellent book. I highly recommend it. And let me know in the comments if you have read this book. I would love to dialogue with you. George R. R. Martin is one of my favorite authors. And this book just showcases why that is. So I think this is a must read, and I hope you will check it out if you have not already. But yes, talk with me in the comments, guys. Let me know. And until next time, make sure you read more books. I'll talk with you next time. And I'd like to give a huge shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for all you do to support my channel.